Magnesium has been sold as the safe supplement, the sensible one, the mineral you can take without thinking too hard. After 40, that belief can become expensive because magnesium is not a vitamin sticker you slap on life. It's electricity for the body, and the wrong kind at the wrong time acts like swapping a normal fuse for an oversized one and calling it extra protection while the wiring quietly runs hotter inside the wall. The risk escalates with age in a way the label never warned you about, because the label is allowed to pretend your body is a fresh, empty system. Your kidneys are the main exit route for magnesium, and kidney clearance often narrows gradually after midlife. Your liver is already handling a heavier chemical workload from medications, alcohol-fortified foods, and support formulas, and the nervous system becomes less tolerant of sudden electrolyte shifts. Hormones stop smoothing out swings the way they did in your 30s, so the same mineral can feel different year to year. The most misleading part is how the early consequences disguise themselves. Instead of an obvious alarm, you get low-level friction that's easy to blame on normal aging, like heavier fatigue, sleep that feels thinner, a stomach that behaves unpredictably, or that slightly off feeling that makes people reach for even more supplements. It's like a drain that slowly narrows while you keep turning the faucet on, and you only notice once the water line is living higher than it used to. Here's where people get misled. Magnesium is not one product. It's a family of chemical forms, and each form behaves like a different tool. 2 bottles can both say magnesium 400 milligrams, and one is basically a gut lever while the other is a slow nutrient, because the number on the front doesn't explain how much is elemental magnesium, how much is the weight of the compound, or where it acts first. Regulation quietly stops at basic disclosure, so the most important part, the behavior of the form inside a 55-year-old body, can stay off stage. That's not a conspiracy, it's a loophole, and marketing loves a loophole. The quiet trap a lot of doctors flag first is magnesium oxide. It looks clean and practical, often paired with big numbers like 250 milligrams or 500 milligrams, and the low price makes it feel like a smart choice. The catch is that oxide is poorly absorbed compared with many other forms, and what isn't absorbed stays in the intestines, pulling water toward itself. That can turn a daily mineral into a daily plumbing adjustment. For someone over 40, that subtle tug-of-war can create a pattern, looseness, then rebound, then more magnesium because it must not be enough, then more digestive aids because the gut feels inconsistent. The body starts responding to a chemical shove instead of its own pacing, like using a crowbar every time a door sticks and slowly warping the frame. Then there's magnesium citrate, and this is where responsible people get fooled because citrate sounds clinical and safe. It shows up in powders, gummies, and calm, blends with language like gentle, relaxing, or nighttime support. Citrate holds magnesium in a very soluble form, and soluble magnesium can act osmotically, pulling water into the intestines. That can feel like clean relief, especially if someone tends toward constipation, and relief is persuasive because it feels like proof. But after 40, hydration and electrolyte balance is a tighter budget than most people realize. A product that quietly changes fluid movement can leave someone feeling subtly drained the next day: headache, weakness, dry mouth, that wired, tired edge, then they patch it with coffee or a salty snack, and the cycle gets misread as stress. It's like using a shop vacuum to clean a spill and accidentally pulling moisture out of the floorboards night after night until the wood starts to warp. A third form that deserves caution is magnesium hydroxide, the chemistry behind many antacid-style digestive comfort products. Hydroxide is alkaline, and that's the feature. It neutralizes stomach acid. The marketing frames it as soothing, but stomach acid is not just discomfort fluid. It's a sorting system. Adequate acid helps break down protein, helps liberate minerals from food, and helps control what microbes survive the trip into the intestines. As people age, stomach acid often becomes less robust, and some are already on medications that reduce acid. Adding an alkaline magnesium form on top can be like turning down the brightness in a warehouse because glare is annoying, and then wondering why you keep misplacing boxes. The short-term sensation can be comfort, but the longer-term cost is digestion that gets more unpredictable, and then more supplements get added to fix what the chemistry quietly disrupted. Magnesium sulfate is another one that hides in plain sight because it's been around forever, often associated with cleansing language. Sulfate forms can be very effective at moving water into the gut, and that effectiveness is exactly why clinicians caution people who treat it casually. Your body doesn't experience it as detox. It experiences it as a rapid shift in fluid and electrolytes. After 40, many people are on diuretics, blood pressure medications, or other drugs that change kidney handling of minerals in water. A strong osmotic push can turn a normal day into a recovery day without any drama, just imbalance. It's like opening a fire hydrant to water a garden because the hose feels slow. The plants get water, but the ground underneath everything changes. Magnesium chloride brings a different kind of confusion, especially when it's sold as ionic drops or magnesium oil for skin. The word ionic is technically true and emotionally persuasive because minerals in the body do exist as charged particles. The missing detail is barrier science. Skin is designed to keep most things out. A concentrated salt sitting on skin can tingle, and tingling gets mistaken for absorption, when it's often just irritation. Taken orally, magnesium chloride can be absorbed, but it can also be harsh for sensitive stomachs, and it reinforces a key point people miss. Magnesium is not just a friendly nutrient, it's a salt with electrical behavior. Treating it like harmless water because it comes in a wellness bottle is like mistaking a car battery for a metal brick, because both are heavy. One is chemistry that can move the system. The slowest, most invisible risk is the magnesium complex world labels that say chelated, buffered, high absorption, multi-source, or simply magnesium complex 400 milligrams. This is where accumulation happens over years because stacking becomes effortless. A person takes a multivitamin with magnesium, then a calm powder at night, then a digestion chewable that includes magnesium hydroxide, then a separate capsule because it says muscle support. Each product looks modest in isolation, and the label format encourage you to think of each bottle as a self-contained decision. Regulation allows structure and function, language that sounds scientific without forcing the company to explain how people actually combine products in real life. Over time, The body can end up with a constant background of magnesium input, while the exit door, the kidneys, has narrowed a little. It's like keeping a small subscription charge on 5 different credit cards. No single charge feels huge, and then years later the total is quietly reshaping your budget. This is the part labels never explain. More is not the safety story, and natural is not a mechanism. The form determines whether magnesium behaves like a nutrient, a laxative tool, an acid neutralizer, or an irritant salt, and the same person can tolerate one form fine while another form quietly pushes them off balance. Marketing doesn't have to teach you that, because supplements are regulated in a way that focuses on what they must not claim, not on what they must clarify. So the most important information is left to inference, and inference is where people get sold. A smarter way to handle magnesium is less about fear and more about control. Start treating the chemical form as the real product, not the big milligram number on the front. When a label leans hard on 400 milligrams, but is vague about the form, or hides behind complex language that makes the math hard to follow, that is not transparency, it is persuasion. Simplify your total load by noticing how many places magnesium already appears: multivitamins, sleep blends, digestive aids, fortified foods, and stop letting separate bottles pretend they live in separate universes. Choose clarity over comfort words like gentle, calm, detox, and ionic, because those are feelings, not explanations, and your body runs on explanations. Magnesium is not automatically dangerous, but it is never just a harmless mineral number on a bottle. It is active chemistry with form-specific effects that become more consequential as the body's tolerance narrows with age. Magnesium supplements are not a wellness accessory. They are a system input that only stays safe when the form is clear, the total load is visible, and the marketing is no longer doing the thinking.